Yeah.
It is hot today. Here.
Okay.
Are we on time?
Yeah, we're actually 2 minutes late.
We thought we were gonna be 5 minutes late.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. Welcome to those in person and online. We are praying out of Sidor Lev Shalem, and we begin tonight's service, page 5, with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu Nile Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We continue Psalm 95 on page 11. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yeshenu, Nekad Mafana Betoda. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yeshenu, Bizmirot Naria Lo. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena l'Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yeshenu, Nekad Mafana Betoda. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yeshenu, Bizmirot Naria Lo. We continue responsively in the English. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God, raising our voice in song.
Great is Adonai, a greater sovereign than all other deities. God's hands
Form the earth's deep, mountain crests too are God's work. The sea is God's, for God made it. Dry land was fashioned by God's hand.
Come then, let us bow and kneel. Let us bend our knees in the presence of Adonai who formed us.
For Adonai is our God, and we are God's flock, sheep in God's caring hands.
If only you would listen today to God's voice and not become hard-hearted like the people at the Meribah, like the time at Massah in the desert when your ancestors tried me and tested me, though they'd seen what I had wrought.
For 40 years I was troubled by that generation, and I said, these are a people whose hearts have gone astray. They do not know my way. So in anger I swore they would not enter my rest.
And we continue page 13 with Psalm 96. Tina, would you lead us responsibly?
Sing to Adonai a new song. Sing to Adonai, all the earth. Sing to Adonai, praise God's name. Day after day, tell of God's deliverance.
Tell the nations of God's glory. Speak of God's wonders beyond, among all peoples. For Adonai is great, surely to be praised, more revered than other gods. For the gods of the nations are man-made idols, but Adonai fashioned the very heavens.
Grandeur and glory are God's on our guard. Strength and joy where God is found. thanksgiving and enter God's presence.
Bow to Adonai in the glory of this holy place. Tremble before God's presence, all who dwell on earth. Announce among the nations, Adonai reigns. The land is firm and will not be moved. Peoples will be truthfully judged.
The heavens shall be glad, and the earth rejoice, the sea and its fullness roar. The meadows and all that grows in them exult. Even the trees of the forest shall sing praise as Adonai comes to judge the earth, judging lands with righteousness and peoples with divine truth.
Thank you very much, Tina. We turn to page 15. David, would you lead us responsibly?
Adonai reigns, let the earth be glad, the many distant lands rejoice.
Clouds and
Thick darkness surround the divine. Righteousness and justice secure God's throne. Fire goes before God, consuming besiegers round about.
Flashes of lightning illumine the land. The earth watches and trembles. Mountains melt like wax at the approach of Adonai, at the approach of the Master of all the earth.
The heavens tell of God's righteousness, and all the nations see God's glory.
Worshippers of idols be shamed for praising false gods. All that is deemed supreme bow before God.
Zion hears of it and rejoices. The cities of Judah exult as you, Adonai, pass judgment.
You, Adonai, are above all that is earthly, exalted over all that is worshipped as divine.
Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the lives of the faithful, saving them from the hands of the sinful.
Light
Light
a
us.
song for the righteous and joy for the upright. Rejoice in Adonai, you righteous people, and thank God as you pronounce the divine holy name.
Or Zerula Tzadik Ul Yisrael Hev Simcha Simchut Tzadikim Badonai V'hoduhu Lezecher Kadeshohu. Page 17, Psalm 98. Mizmor Shiru Ladonai Shir Chadash Kin Odasap Hoshia Lo Yemino Uzaro Akod Shoadia Adonai Yeshuato Le'ena Goyim Gilad Tzidkato Zachar Chastav Emunato Levei Yisrael Ra'u Cholaf Se'aretz Ed Yeshuat Eloheinu Horiu Ladonai Kol Haaretz Bitzchum Veranenu V'zameru Zamru Ladonai Bechinar V'kol Zimara Mechatzot Rod V'kol Shofar Hariu Lifnei HaMelech Adonai Yiramayam Umaloho Tevel V'yoshveva Neharot Yimcha Uchaf Yachad Arim Yiranenu Lifnei Adonai Kiva Lishbot Haaretz Lishbot Tevel B'tzedek Ve'amim B'meisharim Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 Yalai lalai 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 lai 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 Yai lalai lai 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 Yalai lalai lalai lai Yalai lalai lalai lai 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 Yai lai 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 lai. We continue with Psalm 99, page 19. Adonai reigns, nations tremble. The one enthroned amidst the cherubim makes the world quake.
Adonai is great in Zion above all nations. They shall acknowledge your name, saying, Great, awe-inspiring Holy One.
A sovereign strength lies in the love of justice, and you forge the paths of truth, judging Jacob righteously and justly.
Exalt Adonai our God, bow down before God, the Holy One.
Moses and Aaron among God's priests, and Samuel among those who called upon the divine name, called to you, and you answered them. You spoke to them from amidst the cloud. They kept your covenant and the law you gave them. You answered them, Adonai our God. You were a forgiving God to them, even as you punished them for their transgressions.
Exalt Adonai our God, and bow down at God's holy mountain. For Adonai our God is holy.
Ramemu Adonai Eloheinu v'ishtachavu la'ar kadesho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. We rise, if you're able, page 21 for Psalm 29. Mizmor leDavid, havu ladonai kamelim, havu ladonai kavod vos, havu ladonai kavod shemo, ishtachavu ladonai behadrat kodesh, kol Adonai al hamayim, ela kavod hirim Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai be'adar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vaishaber Adonai et al ze halvanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Levanon v'siryon kemo venreimim, Kol Adonai chotzev lavotesh, Kol Adonai Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Yecholeo Ayalot, Vayachasop Yaharot, Uvehechalo Kulo Merkavod, Adonai Lamabul Yashav, Yeshev Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz Liamo Yiten, Adonai Yivarech et Amo v'shalom, et Amo v'shalom. You may be seated. We continue with Lechadodi, page 23. Lechadodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabila, Lechadodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabila, Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu elam yuchad, Adonai echad, Ushamo echad, L'shemu tiferet v'litila, Lechadodi lekrat Kala p'nei Shabbat nikabila, Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nilcha, Ki mikor abiracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sov maseh b'mashchat chila, Lecha dodi likrat Kala p'nei Shabbat nikabila, Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitzi mitocha hafecha ravlach shevet b'yemek habacha v'uyachamohu alaychem lalecha dodi lekrat kala p'nei Shabbat nikabila. We rise. We turn to the last stanza of Lechadodi, the bottom, page 25. As we face the west to greet the Shabbat bride. Boi v'shalom materet bala, gam besimcha uvetzala, tochem munei am segula, boi chala lecha, dodi lekrat, kala p'nei Shabbat nikabila. You may be seated. Continuing page 27 with Psalm 92. Tina, would you lead us responsibly?
It is good to thank you, Adonai, and sing to your name, Most High, to proclaim your love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night.
Finger the lute, pluck the harp, let the sound of the lyre rise up.
You gladden me with your deeds, Adonai, and I shall sing of your handiwork.
How wonderful are your works, Adonai, how subtle your designs.
The arrogant do not understand, the fool does not comprehend this. The wicked shall flourish like grass, and every evildoer blossoms, only to be destroyed forever.
But you, Adonai, are exalted for all time.
Surely your enemies, Adonai, surely your enemies will perish. All who commit evil will be scattered.
As a wild bull raises up its horn, you raised my head high, anointed it with fresh oil.
As my enemies gather against me, my gaze remains steady, for my ears listen
The righteous flourish like the date palm, thrive like a cedar in Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They flourish in our God's courtyards.
In old age they remain fruitful, still fresh and bountiful, proclaiming Adonai is upright, my rock in whom there is no flaw.
Tzadik tamar yifrach ke'erez balvanon yiske shetulim bevet Adonai bechatzrot Eloheinu Yafrichu od yenuvun beseva deshenim verananim yeyu le'agid ki yashar Adonai Suri V'lo avlatabo. Page 29. David, would you lead us in Psalm 93?
Adonai is sovereign, robed in splendor, girded in strength. The earth stands firm, not to be dislodged. From earliest time you were enthroned, you are eternal.
The rivers rise up, Adonai. The rivers raise up their roar. The rivers raise up their waves. Above the roar of the vast sea and the majestic breakers of the ocean, Adonai stands supreme in the heavens.
In your house, beautiful is holiness. Your testimonies endure, Adonai, for all time.
Thank you very much. And Shabbat Shalom to everyone. Thank you for joining me, for joining us for Kabbalat Shabbat. So glad you've taken the time out to join us. I want to make one comment. I want to say something before I'm going to say what I came to say, as they say. Those on Facebook Live, we have had a few issues that are not under our control, unfortunately, where Facebook Live, our feed goes out and does not come back. If that happens in the future, you are more than welcome to come over to one of our other two platforms to continue the service from there. If it stays up, great. If it doesn't, you can go to our channel on YouTube Live or our website. So I just wanted to let everybody know that. On June 30th, 2006, and I've talked about this before, I and Abe Friedman, who's now a prominent rabbi in Philadelphia, we were rabbinical students, and we went and worked with Russian Jewish children to provide a bar and bat mitzvah experience. And this happened in Novosibirsk in Siberia. And on June 30th of 2006, I addressed this group on Saturday morning as we all gathered, and these kids gathered with their parents for probably 99% of them. None of them had been to a Jewish life cycle event or Shabbat service in many generations. So it was absolutely electric, the entire experience. And this is the message I gave to them then. So, and I want to start by telling you a midrash, or a commentary on the Torah. There is a legend about the Hasidic Rabbi Zusia, who lived in the 18th century. When he was on his deathbed, surrounded by all his students, Rabbi Zusia suddenly began to cry and cry. His students tried to make him feel better, saying, "Don't worry about how the heavenly court will judge you, Rabbi. In this life you showed us much loving kindness as Abraham, as much strength as Isaac, as much glory as Jacob. as much holiness as Joseph, and as much Torah knowledge as Moses. Rabbi Zusia wouldn't be comforted, and he said, "In the world to come, they won't ask me, 'Zusia, why weren't you more like Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Joseph, or Moses?' They will ask me, 'Zusia, why weren't you more like Zusia?'" So how many of us here, in person or online, today can truly say that we know what our true nature is or our true potential? Are we guiding our lives in the way God intended? He gave us talents and he gave us potential. Why are we trying to live up to someone else's expectations of us instead of living up to our own? Each of you is an individual with different interests and different gifts, and it is up to you to figure out what those gifts from God are. No one can tell you what they are, only you. Those gifts from God have developed, worked, and cultivated. You must spend much effort to determine what your gifts are and to bring them out in order for you to effect a positive, beneficial change in the world. Now I want to direct your attention to a gift that was given to the Israelites when they entered the desert and began to hunger for food. God supplied them from heaven the manna, which was gathered each morning except for Shabbat after the dew fell. Manna was like coriander seed, and its taste was anything the individual Israelite wanted it to taste like. After several months of wandering, and after receiving the Torah from Mount Sinai, the people began to complain about their diet again, not content with the gift provided them. In Numbers chapter 11, verse 6, it says, "But now our soul is dried away. There is nothing at all besides this manna before our eyes." The people were tired of the same food all the time and craved variety. In their desire for variety, they deluded themselves into fantasizing wrongly about foods that they used to have in Egypt and salivated over those foods that they probably only had in sparse quantities. They said that their souls were dry and they had nothing, but they had the manna. They were supposed to prepare it in any manner they wanted, and it tasted like anything they desired. So what happened? They lost the ability to be creative in their boredom with the same thing, and they became lazy. They deluded themselves into believing that they did not have anything at all. If they could not have what they wanted, then even what they had was ignored and considered as nothing. They ceased to challenge themselves to provide for their needs, and they let their desires and fantasies dictate their behavior, and therefore revolted against God and Moses. Is this not true of us as well? Do we become desirous of things we don't have? Not just things, but knowledge, heritage, community. These things are necessary for everyone to find meaning in this world. If we don't have everything, then we delude ourselves into believing that we have nothing. We lose the desire to challenge ourselves to take hold of our lives and work for the things we want. If we want a Jewish community, we must provide for one. you have to work to acquire Jewish knowledge, like these Jewish children who have had no Judaism for many, many generations, and they had studied for a few months before Abe and I worked with them. But it can't stop there. We told these students they have to go back to their communities and continue to provide for yourselves what you desire, what you crave, and don't have. You must seek out community, and if you find none, then build it. Build it, and they will come. If you don't have Jewish knowledge, acquire it. Read Jewish books. Use the internet to make contacts with Jews from around the world. And we challenge these students, and I challenge all of us. If you don't have what you need to figure out how to get it. It's right before your eyes. All you have to do is reach out. And community is here. We have a beautiful synagogue, which we would love people to come and visit and daven with us. And so that we all can have community together. We have a community online. All of you that come and join us each week. We have 4 services, and some of you come to every one of those services, and it's great to see people online. I think it's better, though, if people come in person. I think we need to be able to not just see each other, but be able to interact with each other. We need to have an oneg or kiddush after services where we can break bread together. Next week, we will have an opportunity to welcome community here in Montgomery because we are having a dinner thanking our current president, Rick Richburg, for serving 2 terms as our president and may continue for the foreseeable future. But we're going to have a great dinner. Linda Smith is providing brisket barbecue sliders, which I honestly didn't know what that was until I think she did this dinner 3 or 4 years ago. I can't remember. And that was mouth-watering. So for those that are online and are within driving distance of Montgomery, please come and join us in person. It's going to be a great dinner. It'll be a nice crowd. And with that, I wish each of us a Shabbat Shalom. With that, we will go ahead and continue our service with Ma'ariv, the evening service. Please rise, turn to page 39a for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Barach Le'olam Va'ed. You may be seated. Baruch et Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzevaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. O Mahavir Yom Mevi Laila, Mavdio Ben Yom Ave Laila Adonai Tzevaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Lam Voed Baruch atah Adonai Hamariv Haravim, page 40. Avat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu lipmadeta al kein Adonai Eloheinu, b'shachveinu v'kumeinu, nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha, le'olam voed. Ki em chayenu v'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'yavetachatasi mimenu la'olamim baruch ato Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ela Asher Anochi mitzavecha hayom levavecha v'shinanatam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uv'shachpecha v'kumecha ukshartam liot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot ben hinecha uchtabtam nam zuzot beitecha uvisharecha V'hayim shamo et tishmo metzata asher nochi metzvetachem yom yavah etan yoichem lovto. I'm going to make sure it's a rech to the tons. Chem santimet v'ra'ile. Just betecha v'yisharech l'man yibru yimechem v'imei v'nechem l'adama asher nishpat ki mi'ashem ha'marz. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'yamarta lehem v'yasu lahem tzitzit al kanfei v'gnehem l'doratam v'natnu al tzitzit akana petil techelep. Vayalachem letzitzit oritem oto uschartem et kol mitzvot Adonai vasitem otam velo tatu racharei levavchem diacharei nechem asher tem zonim achareihem leman dizgaru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kadoshim leloechem Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etachem me'eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem la'Elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Emet. Page 43a. This is our enduring affirmation binding on us that Adonai is our God and there is none other. And we, Israel, are God's people. God is our sovereign, redeeming us from earthly rulers, delivering us from the hand of all tyrants, bringing judgments upon our oppressors, and just retribution upon all our mortal enemies, performing wonders beyond understanding and marvels beyond all reckoning. God places us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, and leads us past the false altars of our enemies, exalting us above all those who hate us. Adonai avenged us with miracles before Pharaoh, offered signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. God brought Israel from its midst to lasting freedom and led them through the divided waters of the Sea of Reeds, as their pursuers and enemies drowned in the depths. God's children beheld the power of the divine. They praised and acknowledged God's name. Page 44. U'malchuto b'ratzum ki b'aleah Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael chanishira b'simcha rabba v'yamaru chulam mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi chamocha nedor ba'kodesh Nora tehilot O Seifele, Malchutecha Ruvenecha Bokeyam Lifnei Moshe, Zeli Anu V'Yameru, Adonai Imloch Leolam Voed, V'Nemar Kifad Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalod Mir Chazak Mimenu, Baruch et Adonai, Ka'al Yisrael, page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Elohim. Ushmotzeitenu vein l'chaim ushlamiyatavi adolam. Ufroslin uskat shlomecha baruch et Adonai. Habaretzu kat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We rise, page 46. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash Shavat vayinafash Shavat vayinafash Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam barit olam. We remain standing as we turn to page 47. And we recite the Friday night silent Amidah to ourselves, page 47 through 52. And we remain standing as we turn to page 56 as the ark is open for Elena. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol atekdu lal yotzeh b'rishit shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot v'lo samanu k'mishmachot hadama shelo sam chelkenu kahem v'goraleinu kechol hamonam v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומושב יקרא בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו בגבי מרמים הוא אלוהינו עמד מלכנו אבזולתו Kakatu betorato, Vedatayam, Vashivota, Elavavecha, Ki Adonai Elohim, Bashamayim Nimal, V'yal haaretz mitachat, Eino Elohim. Gagadu b'toratech Adonai moch lilam voed v'nemar ve'aya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom ha'u yeh Adonai echad U'shemo echad. You may be seated. This week we will observe yard sites for, text is very small. Solomon Rubin, Susanna Varon, Jack Arrighetti, Rose Ballman, Jeanette Russo, Eli Capiluto, Rachel Kapp, and Joseph Evaristo Martinez. Those observing yard site and those who mourn, please rise, page 58, and join me for the Kaddish Tone, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah b'yoma divra chirutei v'yamlech malchutei b'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'agala v'zman kariv imaru amen Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam olmei maya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitchumam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudisha b'richu Leilam min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran v'yoma v'yimaru amen Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen Oseh shalom b'mirmav uyaseh shalom Aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'imaru. Amen. You may be seated. Again, thank you all for joining us for Kabbalat Shabbat. So glad that you're all here. Make the same comment I made to those earlier. And we seem to have gotten through a service without Facebook Live going out on us for reasons unknown. If we lose any connection along the way, apparently this will not rebroadcast. So those on Facebook, if we ever lose a connection with you and the service just seems to stop, please go over to one of our other two venues, either on YouTube Live, Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem channel, or our website. Either one is there waiting for you. Services will continue tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. The Alabama Community Virtual Havdalah will meet tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. As we celebrate the end of Shabbat via Zoom. Next Friday night, we have a very, very special dinner honoring Rick Richburg, our current and president, who has served as president for 2 terms and will be president for the foreseeable future, or unforeseeable future, I guess. Anyway, Linda Smith is going to be making a incredibly tasty brisket barbecue slider dinner. It's going to be we've had this before and it was fantastic, and I invite you all to come. You can't eat unless you're here in person. We're not going to deliver it to you. So you got to be here. So call Monday morning the office and please let us know that you are coming, so Linda knows how many of these. I know I'll be able to put together about 10 of these, I'm thinking. I don't know. It's going to be fantastic. So I invite you all to come and join us in person next Friday night at 6 p.m.